Good evening. I am Steve. This is my rock and metal life, and today is that day that comes around every so often, kind of regularly, that I've talked about before. Not Friday, not your birthday, nothing like that. It's the day after the show. I went to a concert last night, and I went to work today. I woke up in a glow. I showed up at work. What do you got? I'll do anything. I can't hear you anyways. And that's how this feels. The show I saw last night was Geoff Tate, and he's out there doing. He's not doing the full albums anymore like when we saw him a couple of years ago. I think it's called the Big Rock Show, and it's a greatest hits. It's a run through the Queensryche catalog, and absolutely fantastic show. Once again, just like last year, or actually I think it was 2 years ago, we saw him when they did Rage for Order and Empire all the way through. Uh, Fantastic band, just absolutely fantastic band. You know, a bunch of great players up there, and Jeff's voice is terrific. He's not having any of the problems that a lot of these people are having in other bands that are getting up in age. And for a guy like him with the siren voice, I always expect that those are the ones that aren't going to hold up so good, and his is fantastic. So I'm going to go through this show, and I am going to start with the opening act, which was something I had not seen before. All these years, I've been to all these concerts, and to be completely honest, it's very rare that the opening band turns out to be something that I was really glad that, I showed up early and got to see. We got a couple local ones around here that I really dig, and they open a lot of the heavier rock shows. But otherwise, these, touring acts, they bring an opening band, and I could take it or leave it. I appreciate the talent and the skill. When I sit there and I hear a bunch of songs I haven't heard before, almost nothing knocks me out. Last night was the exception. Geoff Tate is touring with a band that I believe he discovered in Ireland, and the name of the band is Fire and Water, and it's a three-piece. I mean, I'm going to link some of the videos in the comments. It's kind of hard to describe because everything I would use to describe them kind of conjures up a cliche of, oh, it's kind of like this, it's kind of like that, and it's kind of like nothing. It's kind of like you got two acoustic guitars, you got a saxophone player, you have no drummer. The percussion, for some of the songs, one of the acoustic guitar players is banging the guitar. The playing itself is very percussive, and it's just the most fantastic thing I've seen in a long time. The singer and guitar player, he and the lady that plays saxophone is their husband and wife, and this band, it's like it's rollicking, it's rocking, it's bumping and thumping, it's gravelly kind of voice, gritty, and at the same time it is silky smooth with the saxophone and the lady's voice. And then the other guitar player, he steps up and he sings, and hey, what do you know? He's got a killer voice as well. Fire and Water is the name of the band. Their website says we're an Irish three-piece multi-instrumentalist outfit with a trademark sound. Yeah, exactly. Again, when I say, two acoustic guitars, you can think Woodstock, you can think, Peter, Paul, and Mary, something like that. It is not that at all. What they play is lively, rolling. Had this audience like in the palm of their hand. They played a set that was just, I look at some of the videos and they're absolutely fantastic, but what I saw live, I mean, that old thing about, oh, we're really a live band. These guys are just over the top live band. They come out on stage. Geoff comes out and introduces them and says, hey, I fell in love with these guys years ago. You will too. Check them out. And so, very minimalist. Geoff's set is pretty minimalist. And when we walked in, it really wasn't covered up. You could see Geoff's drum kit. We thought there was no opening band. Um, and just, the mic stands and you can see the saxophone that Geoff plays was there. But then they come walking out. There's three of them, and like I said, two acoustic guitars. She's got a saxophone, and if I'm being completely honest, I was like, okay, yeah, let's see what this is. And the opening number, I mean, just the intro to it. One of the things that fascinates me is Thomas McCarthy is what is the name of the main guy in the middle, singer, guitar player, and he can just flat rip it up. And he plays the acoustic. Sure, there's rhythms, and simpler stuff all throughout, but when he starts going up and down that neck, he is just fantastic. And that grabbed me right there before they even started singing. And I was like, this intro is kind of a long intro, and goes into the song. He's got this voice that captivates you. And the first song that they played, and I'm sorry, I'm not familiar, I didn't buy the CD. I've looked at a few videos, and I did join their Patreon page, which I'll talk about this here in a minute. But anyway, the first song that they played, you get this thunderous intro for being an acoustic act, and then they go into the song, and the saxophone is just like all throughout. The sax is blowing all throughout this thing. Just a brilliant song to start with. And then as it goes on, some songs were more spectacular than others. Some were just like pretty good, folky kind of, rolling numbers. But every one of them, you get the skill level is just insane. It's a tremendous collaboration. You got these three people up there, and it's just a wall of sound. Just really fantastic. I couldn't have been happier. And oh, by the way, when the lady steps up to sing, and her name on the webpage it says Clodag, and she's married, so it would be McCarthy, I believe, for the last name. I'm going to say Chloe because I don't know, and I'm sorry. But when she steps up to sing, the song that she started off, oh my goodness, just pierced the entire arena. Couldn't believe the power of the voice, and just brilliant, So I got nothing but superlatives for this band. They really blew the roof off the place. The audience loved them. I did not get a chance to meet them at the meet and greet because I went back there a couple of different times, and they were mobbed and there was a line, so they knocked them dead last night. They mentioned that they have they got a Patreon set up to where they don't have their own label, so you can join their Patreon community, and then I joined to give a few bucks each month, which I'll be doing for a good long while. And that's cool. I think that's a really cool way to go about this. They get to ride Geoff's tour bus when it's operational, I guess. And they're by all accounts, outwardly, they're just having the time of their lives touring America. Big energy. And like I say, I see the two acoustic guitars, and I know like Geoff's like an interesting guy. He likes, eclectic things. And I thought, ooh, boy, here we go. What's this going to be? And it was just, I'm thinking, somber, quiet. And it was thunderous. It was, like I said, it was bumping and thumping, and it was just really good. And if I knew if I could discern what the words were for the songs, I bet you the stories are just fantastic. But anyway, just brilliant opener. I can't say enough good stuff about it, and I'll link a couple videos in the description here. On to Geoff Tate, and I have precious little to share, in my Queensryche journey. I've got two eras of Queensryche for me. Towards the end of the time I was in the military, I got into Mindcrime and Empire, and that's about it for a good long while. Casual, yep. If I'm being honest, I was, I thought, oh, I love Queensryche, they're fantastic. But that was all I knew. All I knew was the stuff that MTV was putting in front of me. And I didn't know anything about the EP, The Warning, and Rage for Order. And all these years go by. Then the 90s go by. My son is born in 99, and about, I don't know, 10 years later, a little longer than that. I would say he's 24 now. I would say probably like 10 years ago, he just dives into music like kind of like I used to, but like even with more intensity. And he does the deep dive on Queensryche, and he's telling me, you got to hear those first 2 records, man. I mean, and the EP as well. And so finally, after all these years, I get into the first 2, and I'm sitting here right now, Rage for Order. I feel so lucky that he toured that thing, because I was going to go see Geoff Tate that year no matter what. And since he was doing Rage for Order, I just go right next door and take it off my son's shelf there, and I listened to it. And the night I went to the show, I wasn't completely up to speed on it. I had a couple of songs that I dug, but I didn't know it like I know it right now. And the show got me after the event. I really dove into Rage for Order, and I just love that CD. And I still, Mindcrime for me is the pinnacle. And the way I see it, after Mindcrime, Empire, it's great, it's fantastic, I love it, but it's starting to go a different direction. And of course you've got the mainstream stuff that everybody knows, that was all over the radio and MTV. And it's different from the progressive stuff from before, and to me that's fine. After that, I never bought Empire, and I that was one of those records I kind of felt like, and again, like I say, was I a casual? You bet I was. I never bought Empire because I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't get away from Jet City Woman and Another Rainy Night and Empire and Best I Can. I feel like I know the whole record even though I don't. So I moved on and I skipped Promised Land. I just got that recently, and then the next thing I got was Here and the Now Frontier, and wasn't really crazy about that. It was all right, but it wasn't great, in my opinion. So all that having been said, I saw Queensryche twice with Geoff Tate, and once they opened for Iron Maiden on the Brave New World tour with Rob Halford. Halford was the opening band, and Queensryche was second, and then Iron Maiden was the headliner. So that's a weird mix. You got Iron Maiden with Bruce back in the band. You've got Queensryche with Geoff hasn't left yet. And then you've got Halford not yet back into Priest. Kind of weird, like big crossroads event. But anyway, so gosh, what year was that? That was that like Q2K? Is that what? Wow. Anyway, I saw that show. It was fantastic. And I remember they started with Revolution Calling, and I was like, ooh, man, this is one of those, concert highlights. And then the next time I saw him was this tour right here, the Heaven and Hell tour with, Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio singing, and then Alice Cooper. And I made a video for this a ways back. And then Queensryche, of course, was there. And they were fantastic, but again, I wasn't where I should be. I didn't know the songs like I know them, and I believe I checked on set lists not too long ago. I think they opened that show with The Whisper. Oh my goodness! And I might be wrong. Maybe they just played it. I can bring it up, but I'm pretty sure like they played Welcome to the Machine, because they that year they were touring on that Covers album. My scrambled egg. This is why I make these videos, because just a little bit of time goes by and I can't really remember the circumstances. But anyway, so that's my history. And then, of course, I saw Geoff, the last time they were here with Rage for Order and Empire. And it was that show, that was killer. I loved it, you know, and I did like to hear the deep tracks. Um, I thought that was fantastic, but this thing, the greatest hits, you know, it gave me the mind crime, it gave me all that stuff. I mean, it was just terrific, and I'm just gonna go through the what they played from each record. This is what I have as far as CDs, and we got the Warning, which we don't play vinyl hardly ever, but we bought that somewhere. Um, so, oh, you know what? I'm going to start with the EP, and you know, I'm just going to give away the end. He played Queen of the Reich. That was his last song. It was, and I mean, I didn't expect that at all. And on this one, I didn't check around. I didn't go online and see, you know, what's he playing. You know, I thought, okay, just hit me with whatever. And he finished with Queen of the Reich, and it was nails. It was dead on. So from the Warning, he played, and this is insane. The tracks are so small here, I literally can't read them with my glasses on. From here, he played a pretty weird song, NM 156. That's something, you know, that's a pretty interesting song, and I'm glad I got to see that. And then he also played Take Hold of the Flame, and so I don't know, he probably played something else off of here, but I don't remember. From this masterpiece, he played Walk in the Shadows, and I love that song, and I love that's a brilliant opening track. It's just a fantastic live song. There's so many, you know, walk with me. You know, there's so much sing along and fist pumping. He did that, and I think Screaming in Digital, I think, is the only other thing he did off of here. And then, yeah, my favorites on here are The Whisper, Surgical Strike. Oh, The Killing Words, I love that too. But nope, didn't play them, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not complaining at all, because this was just a wonderful set. On we go to the Game Changer, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Change Their Lives. Here he did Operation Mindcrime pretty early in the set, and then he did Breaking the Silence and I Don't Believe in Love. And I believe he did those all back to back to back. I think he did those like kind of early mid set. And that was cool. Those are like serious sing-alongs right there. You know, I got set list up, and they did start with The Whisper back in that was 2007 when I went to this show. And if he did that last night, I would have just gone bonkers, because I just love that song. But anyway, that's where he went from here. Empire, he did a lot of Empire last night, and let me see. He did not do The Best I Can, which kind of surprising. The Thin Line, Jet City Woman, Another Rainy Night, Empire, and Silent Lucidity. And therein lies what I was mentioning earlier about the shift. You know, good for them. They had tons of success off of this, but you know, Jet City Woman, Silent Lucidity, Another Rainy Night Without You, those are, you know, probably, you know, a little off-brand, you know, for what they've been doing. I don't want to criticize them too much, because I love those songs and everything, but again, they're going down a little bit different road. And then from Promised Land, also pretty early in the set, he did that I Am I, and that was bonkers. That was good. So, I mean, that's, I don't know if I covered oh, well, okay, for the encores, okay, he did Take Hold of the Flame, and, you know, just, you know, telling the truth here, I don't dig that song. You know, I just don't care for it. Geoff clearly digs that song. He played it the last time they were here, and then he liked it, and he made a comment that everybody's singing along, and, you know, he likes that. And that was from Fort Fairlane. You know, it was from the movie soundtrack. And Take Hold of the Flame was one of the encores, and I already told you he did Queen of the Reich. But I can't overstate the version of Pink Floyd's Welcome to the Machine that they did, and that was, I mean, that was something else. Now they did a covers album somewhere. I don't remember when that was. Well, I think it was around the time I saw him in '07, was it not? It was called Take Cover, 2007, and Welcome to the Machine is the first song on there. Well, Jeff's band has 3 guitar players, and he says, hey, we're going to have 4 guitar players. How about that? So he brings another guy out, and hey, what do you know? This guy can shred and wail and everything. And they I mean, it was, if you're into this kind of music, you got to love Welcome to the Machine. You got to, I don't know how you don't, that's like one of those, it's like, our Declaration of Independence or something like that. It's like a founding document of the music that we like. And, it's on Wish You Were Here, which is just a killer classic Pink Floyd record. And he plays the song, they play it like faithful to the song, and then they go way off the track, and all 4 of these guys solo, and it's perfect. It works, it's over the top, and everybody loved it, and there wasn't, every one of these 4 guys had something to offer. Their solo was like, oh my gosh, can you see him doing that? And then the other guy steps up, and and they would like tap each other out and in, and then the next guy just picks up, and you're just sitting here, if you're one of these, whatever you call it, unhappy, always disappointed people that thinks that shredding is, just needless exhibitionist, whatever you want to call it, just ear candy or whatever. I don't know. If you're one of those people, then this was the worst night of your life and the worst probably 10 minutes of your existence, because these guys just shredded like one end of the stage to the other, and it was fantastic. Anybody watching this video is probably would have dug it if they were there, and anybody who has saw it, it was great. So that's a pretty good show, and for me that's a heck of a Tuesday night. Love getting home late, love getting up this morning with my ears ringing. Queensryche, I despite what I said before, I'm still not where I should be on them. I don't know everything the way I should, but I lean really heavily towards Rage for Order and Mindcrime. The Warning, this is where I'm talking about I'm not really where I should be. I've played this, numerous times. I dig it. I've got a couple of songs that I just haven't committed to memory, which ones, when I pop it in, it's like, oh yeah, this is killer. This is killer. Oh, this is amazing. And this is them in their, this is when they looked like this, and when they were doing, they were just really letting it fly at the beginning. The 2 guitars in Queensryche, just fantastic. They did it. I mean, that is truly art. The way they layered those things, the way they interplayed with each other. It's just really, really good stuff. And I am ashamed it's taken me so long to, even get to where I am right now with my familiarity. But this is the good stuff. This is the stuff that I'm just scared to death it's not going to be around 10 years from now, as far as being able to go see it live. To get to hear these songs and hear Geoff doing them, that's wonderful. And to tell you the truth, if the Queensryche with Todd singing, if they came around, I'd probably go. Just I gotta celebrate these songs, and Todd's great at them. I heard the original last night. I heard Geoff Tate in all his glory, and it was fantastic. He's a great stage presence. I love the way he, his hand gestures and movements, the way he's really telling the story of these songs. And that was one thing that really stood out last time. And again, I enjoyed it last night. But hey, this is what I live for. That's why I even have a YouTube channel. I just want to pop all this out there before I forget it, because it won't be too long where I won't remember what he played and all that. But that's not because nothing about this show was forgettable. It was Just a terrific show. The theater probably holds 700-800, something like that. It wasn't quite full, but everybody was really into it. You know, it was the true believers were there, and yeah, we dug this show. I'll go see it again if he keeps touring, if he keeps coming around. Definitely go see it. And I'm gonna go back to the opening band, Fire and Water. Give it a look, give it a listen. I think their run with Geoff might be pretty close to over. But if you see this and you got tickets to see Geoff Tate with them opening, man, I implore you to get there early and check it out. It's really something live. So Fire and Water, excellent. Geoff Tate, just, top shelf, just like he always was. Killer band, killer show. Go check it out if you get the chance.